Alright everybody, what's up, and welcome to your reading for the full moon in Taurus, happening on the 28th of October and the 29th of October in the Southern Hemisphere. My name is Kate. I run Indigo Instinct Healing. I write articles for Starseeds on Medium.com, and I do these readings every new moon and full moon to help the collective channel into what is going on energetically as a whole on this planet at this time. I always say, if this reading is meant for you, I read to one color of the collective rainbow, and if you're meant to be seeing this reading at this time, then it will probably resonate, and if it doesn't resonate, then don't worry. So before I get into the cards, there are two things happening at once during this cycle and this energy, and I know that I use astrological references and I often talk about the astrology, but I'm really just tuning into what's going on with the energy out there. I have been graced with the gift of being a channel, and so I generally just pull from what is being channeled through. This often lines up with what's happening astrologically. I do feel that astrologers are reading into the nuances of what's going on energetically in the world, but the information is present in the astrology as well. And so right now we've got two roads to choose from. And Taurus, hopping back to astrology for a second, Taurus is very much the person who wants to keep the house safe, build the garden, till the land, set the stage for the harvest and for reaping the harvest in the fall after you've put in all of that work in the summer. They're calm and they're stable and they're grounding, and it has to feel good for Taurus to feel satisfied. If it involves work but it doesn't feel good, then it's probably going to be met with a lot of resistance. And so what's happening out there in the energies right now and in the world is that we've got two paths. And I'm going to drop a link in the description box below about collapsing timelines, which is a different video that I've done about how time in essence can work and how you can live or operate on different timelines at a certain time, and how sometimes when you make a big choice in your life, you collapse the previous timeline that you were on that had your life going in a particular direction, and you move towards a different timeline, or you link on to a different timeline. And so we've just had one of those shifts. And if you're someone who has been experiencing a lot of resistance or a lot of discomfort in your body or in your life, or how you have been experiencing the world, you're probably going to feel pretty aligned with this truth, that we've just gone through a lot of resistance, a big kind of squeezing and purge that has asked people whether they want to hop onto this next timeline, whether they want to make this choice to move towards what works better for them, what helps them integrate their past better, what helps be in their body better, or if they want to resist that opportunity and that lesson and to continue on in the same path that they've been going on. And the truth is about lessons is that whenever you experience something, you always have the opportunity to greet that lesson as it comes. And if you're not ready for it, it will always come back again for you. That is the beautiful thing about the way that our soul codes and our soul contracts are programmed, and the way that we are meant to live our dynamic and fluid and ever-changing lives, is that these lessons that are meant to present themselves to help us evolve and grow and change with our particular ancestry, with our particular path and purpose, and all these things that make us unique, those lessons will always represent themselves so that you can learn them once again and move forward in a different way. And so if you feel like you just went through one of those cycles but you didn't really come out in a way that makes you feel like you did it, like you really integrated it well, or you feel any different, or you're kind of facing more struggle now, you feel like one thing's kind of coming after the other, give yourself some time for reflection and to reflect and ask yourself what you feel like that lesson was being presented to you at the time. And if you can see the lesson, but you weren't ready to digest it or absorb it, that's totally okay. But being able to create the limits around what you think that lesson was is a huge, huge step into breaking deep patterns, being able to shift your biology and move forwards and heal, being able to change stagnant relationships or the way that you are relating, relationship dynamics in general. And so give yourself that time to reflect and see if you can pick out the lesson or a lesson of this last chapter that just happened. And so with that in mind, we have these kind of two split roads right now. And for many of us, it's going to feel like we have this higher timeline or this more spacious opportunity, this more spacious feeling that we can step into, but also is going to feel really scary and feel really unpredictable. Money's not necessarily going to be a sure thing. And by that I mean, it's not like being presented right in front of us right now. It just feels a little bit more risky, but it also feels like a softer soul calling. And then we've also got this safer option or this more neutral option, more predictable option that looks like a clear path ahead, looks like it's going to be easy to follow, but doesn't really light you up. And so with that in mind, really give yourself the awareness that there are two competing energies right now for your attention, and you will choose one or the other at some point, but giving yourself the option of knowing that you've kind of got two lanes to choose from, and neither one is wrong, and neither one is going to create a negative or a positive experience. They're just going to hold different lessons for different times. So, or by that I mean different lessons that you can choose to learn at this time or at a later time. So just keep that in mind moving into November and kind of as we come down in the descent towards the solstice. So let's get to the reading. Yeah, okay, so we've got this Inanna wholeness card. There it is. And this is a story of a goddess who was asked to descend into the dark. She was essentially asked to descend like into hell, sort of. And she was a goddess of light and of beauty and of kind of everything good in the world. And when she was asked to descend into the darkness, she had to leave behind everything that made her who she was. So she left behind her crown, she left behind the sun and the moon, she left behind all of her jewelry, all of her status, everything that made her Inanna. She eventually left behind her clothing and also her identity as she descended into the dark. And this isn't going to apply for all of you, but it is going to apply to a large chunk of you, especially those who are feeling split in between that decision of the path. That in order for us to really recreate ourselves or create ourselves anew, in order for us to become the person who is living the dream life, who is feeling fulfilled, who is doing the things we want to do each day, eating the organic food or living the life in the sunshine or whatever it is your greatest dream, at this moment in time, there is a potent opportunity to take very large steps towards that. And you must leave behind what you think you know. And for most of you, the largest piece and the largest key of that point is going to be leaving behind your story. And so leaving behind the story of, this is what happened to me, this is why I am this way, this is what is challenging for me, this is what I can't do. All of these beliefs need to get left behind as we move forwards into the darkness and we move forwards into the unknown, and we create this incredible opportunity for us by taking the risk of stepping into the thing that we can't see yet. So November is going to be a really good time for this. It is such a sacred, dark time. we are moving towards the darkest part of the year, especially in the northern hemisphere, and that really allows for this deep wisdom to come through. And so in terms of action steps, you don't actually need to do all that much, but you do have to make a decision. So is your story worth leaving behind in pursuit of your dreams, in pursuit of bigger things? Okay, also nice. I was just explaining this to somebody earlier that I did a reading for. So when it comes to doing the work or integrating or creating this life or learning the lessons, it doesn't have to be all work and effort and challenge. Taurus is a sign that if they are not experiencing joy and pleasure, they will throw in the towel. It doesn't matter how fruitful the garden is going to be. It doesn't matter how beautiful the house is going to look. If they're not experiencing any joy or intimacy or love, they're not going to do it. So what's coming forward for this moon cycle, for this lunar cycle, and for the months coming, the next sort of lunar phase, is this welcoming of intimacy into your life. And for some of you, that's going to mean creating a deeper relationship with yourself and really learning what personal intimacy looks like, really learning what loving yourself and feeling whole outside of codependence looks like. But for some of you, it's also going to mean that opportunity for connection and for not necessarily partnership, but for connection, for spending time together, for touch, for enjoyment, for pleasure, and for joy. And so remember that although we have these two roads and these two sort of big things happening in our lives right now, that also can represent the darkness that we're heading towards in terms of the unknown and the acceptance and reception of joy and intimacy and pleasure. And intimacy in my head just came up twice. So really allowing that intimacy to enter your life and to feel received by it and to feel witnessed by it, because we can't just work the land and never give it any sun. It's still not going to grow under those conditions. So let that love in for this coming lunar cycle. And if you're planning on doing a ceremony or doing any intentional work towards the full moon, love, intimacy, connection, joy, pleasure, those are good things to ask for. Yeah, okay. So this doesn't really surprise me with the larger picture. Let's see if we can get it to focus here. Almost. Anyway, it says Bodhisattva awakening, and there's the tree in the background there. I'll try not wiggle the card too much. I'm just trying. There we go. The person meditating under the tree, and then the people who have come to witness and bring gifts. And this is a larger, like 4-month context, so much larger than just the full moon, but a bigger understanding of what you're headed towards. And this coming month is really going to provide that energy. And it's that we are going through, many of you who already have a spiritual connection, whether it's to nature or to something else, whether it's metaphysical or spiritual or religious or whatever, it doesn't matter. Any of you who feel like you have gone through some sort of awakening, maybe 4 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, and you feel like you've started to do a lot of this work, there's an opportunity for a second awakening coming. And again, Taurus isn't really focused on the doing. They're really focused on the being. And so just open your mind and bear in mind that you have this opportunity for this second awakening coming. And for many of you, that will eventually result in a change in job or a change in partnership, a change in housing, a change in where you live, a change in health, and a change in circumstance, whether it's abundance or anything else. But you have to have your mind open to the possibility that you could be learning new lessons, deepening your gifts, meeting the right people, and giving yourself the setting to be able to incorporate that newness as it comes towards you. And so allow yourself to be awakened and changed and moved by whatever it is that you come in contact with that moves you. You know, allowing these little moments of being by the water or being by nature or watching your child play or any of these moments of profoundness that feel small but also feel deeper. Allow yourself to feel that depth in the coming months, because it really is heralding this sign that you are changing in a much deeper way. And you absolutely don't have to accept this path. You don't have to accept this task. But if you have been searching for a change and you have been searching for an evolution, please let this be your sign that we are in fact already embarking on it. So that is all I have for you folks today. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, I do 60 and 90-minute sessions with individuals on Zoom. You get a recorded reading, so you get the recording after you're finished. Please use my email, kate@indigoinstincthealing.com. I'll put it in the description box below to book a reading, or you can head over to my website, but I believe it might be under construction still. We're still working on it a little bit. If you are interested in more of the energy stuff or the starseed stuff or any of that sort of cosmic conversation that I have going on here, check out my articles on medium.com. That is where I put a lot of my focused intention, and a lot of my channeled work these days is on medium.com. So please check me out there. Like the video, please subscribe to the channel if you found this useful, and share to a friend if you feel called. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. Happy full moon in Taurus. Blessings.